for you and me, so let's discover love's great wonder. Let's discover the spell we are under. With Mililli. Love. Hello. I'm Merlin Mililli. Welcome to the Love Show, where we grapple with the question, what is love? Today we are asking, is love dark energy? Perhaps you are asking, what is dark energy? Well, dark energy is most of everything. The standard model in cosmology is that everything is made of 73% dark energy, 23% dark matter, 3.6% intergalactic gas, and 0.4% stars, etc., the physical, me, you, the piano. Dark energy is the force that's pulling the universe apart. I like to look at it as expanding or growing. They have recently discovered that the universe, which they previously thought to be contracting and slowing down, is in fact expanding and speeding up. This force of expanding is dark energy to some scientists and academia at large. So I dropped out of college. I was a fine art major. Since then, as I raised my children, who were an education in and of themselves, but as I raised them, I studied many things that I was interested in. And as I raised them, the internet became more and more accessible and easier to use, and all of this information just opened up to me. So before I had children, when I was just a child, I became fascinated with the night sky. The stars, the constellations, the planets, all of it. As I have told you all before in other love shows, I am a druid, an earth worshiper. And as I worship earth, I also study earth, which spins around in the multiverse, which I also study, and I try to study everything in it. So I have been an amateur astrophysicist for many years. I have studied the planets, their movements, and now, thanks to science and its advances, we can go much further out into the multiverse. I have now studied nebula, where stars and galaxies are formed. I love nebula. They're my favorite. I've studied our galaxy, and I've studied and discovered that there are many other galaxies in the multiverse. I've discovered the multiverse, which many academics don't believe exists. Most current academics at most universities, is it any wonder? But most academics at most universities don't believe in more than one universe. I believe in more than one universe. And it's not just a belief, I can prove it. Now, most academics, I think, are up to about 4 or 5 dimensions they'll admit we have. Some have thought it quite a stretch to go to 5. One guy around here was even rallying people around moving with him into the 5th dimension. Excuse me. I freaked out. I thought this was a crazy idea, that it was going to make people one-dimensional. And I actually lost a friend to his little cult. And my friend, I kid you not, I never heard from again. And this guy was making multidimensional people believe in just one dimension. So they became one-dimensional. And once you were there, I imagine it can be near to impossible to get out. Because you're one-dimensional. How can you think of a plan? This guy had a weird cult, and people believed him, and it ruined their lives, and they no longer had facets and feelings and opinions and thoughts and desires. Multidimensionality. He robbed them of it. Now, each of these things makes us multidimensional. Our facets, our feelings, our opinions, our thoughts, our desires. I am in a different universe than you, out there in TV land. I am in a different universe than someone, even myself, watching this 10 years from now. I am in a different universe than the squirrel outside. We all live in the same multiverse, but as our experience, our observations are all very different dimensions, different universes, the word universe implies one. Multiverse implies many. I believe it's infinite. Funny that they use verse, like a song. The world is but a song of many verses. Infinite verses. The 16th century Italian philosopher and friar Giordano Bruno was burned at the stake for believing that the universe was infinite. He was right, but I kind of understand the fear behind the scientists not wanting to back him up. Hopefully, here in the 21st century, we can accept this as fact, that there's a multiverse, not a universe, and it's expanding, and it's infinite. So I don't think they still burn people at the stake. I think it's okay now to make this observation. So I found this amazing author. I've ordered her first book. If it's as good as I expect, I'll order the second one too here in a minute. Her name is Dr. Mangier Samantha Lofton, and she's written Punk Science, the one that I ordered, and Genius Groove. Now, as a druid, I have also studied megaliths, Stonehenge in particular, and I subscribe to a channel called Megalithomania on YouTube. And I happen to catch Dr. Mangier Samantha Lofton doing a lecture for megalithomaniacs, dowsers, ley line experts, druids, my people. In the lecture, the doctor explains that she is a medical doctor, but she's kind of broken out of academia in that she explains in her lecture that with the aforementioned scientific model of cosmology that I talked about with 73% dark energy, and that scientists have absolutely no idea what dark energy is. She said with this model that the scientists got out the champagne and said, "That's it, we've done it, there's nothing more to discover." When they don't even know what 73% of it is, they just named it improperly and put it on a chart. That's it. So the doctor also points out that there are now many cosmologists and physicists that, after getting data back from all of their new fancy telescopes that did not match the standard model, now there are many who believe instead that we've got it all wrong. I'm in that camp of those who believe that we've got it all wrong. You can look at NASA footage online. You can look at Hubble telescope footage online. Sometimes you can watch live astronomical events as they happen out in space from a satellite telescope. Excuse me. Technology really has advanced, but for all of these advancements, we seem to have only learned that we really don't know anything. So I've studied astrophysics, I've studied holistic natural medicines, I've studied art, I've studied music, I've studied cosmology, I've studied quantum physics, I've studied astrology and runes and tarot, and now I study love mainly. So as I've been studying love here at the Love Show, which I write, I direct, I record, and host on the Love Show, we have discovered that love is healing, love is art, and that love is music. Dr. Mangier's Samantha Lofton states in her lecture that she thinks that dark energy is consciousness. We proved here at the Love Show that love is consciousness. So therefore, I think, I believe, I know that dark energy is love. Dr. Samantha Lofton states in her lecture that black holes are actually light. I have theorized that dark energy is actually light. We proved that love is light in our Is Love Light episode, Is Light Love episode. Therefore, I would also guess that dark energy is just a really bad name for this stuff, or anti-stuff. So it's also been called antimatter, and it's also been called the God particle. I like God particle. We proved in our Is God Love episode that God is indeed love. I am a druid, as I've said. My God, or more appropriately, goddess, is the earth. I proved in our Mother Earth episode, one of my favorites, that Mother Earth is indeed also love. We revisited the subject now a few times. I did some angel writing for our Angel's Love episode, in which I communicated with the Archangel Gabriel, who told me that yes, angels are love, and that God is love, and that God's message is love. In our necessity episode, we found that we need love to grow. That children who do not get love lose growth for every month they have no love. We discovered in our Love IQ episode that our hearts have neurons. Our brains have 86 billion neurons and are part of an autonomic nervous system in which extends to the heart and the digestive system. Our hearts only have about 40 neurons, and they enable one to have a beating, working heart without having to think about it. When we are in our mother's wombs, unborn babies, our hearts develop before our brains. So these 40 tiny neurons essentially beat our brains into existence. Beating. heartbeat is a noise, right? It's a noise. Bum, 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 bum. Did you know that each planet makes a noise? They are all essentially singing and dancing out there at this grand ball. Funny that they call it a ball. Planets are all shaped like a ball, aren't they? Speaking of noise, there's the train. Get its part in. The planets in our galaxy also seem to be particularly fascinated with the light of the sun, as they all seem to be sort of controlled by it, even down to the simplest plant on a planet. Have you ever observed a flower which turns towards the sun? You wouldn't even notice its movement, but for its turning toward the sun. Why does the sun control so much? Because the sun is light, and light, friends, is love. We proved here at the Love Show that love is more real and more provable than reality. Now that is some heavy, deep stuff. This has been kind of a heavy, deep show. So Dr. Mangier Samantha Lofton talks about how observation measurements are consciousness, and consciousness is fundamental to reality. You need an agent of consciousness to measure. She also talks about how the universe is expanding or growing. If children need love to grow, why wouldn't the universe also need love to grow? If the universe is growing, someone or something is loving it. Is it the sun who's loving the multiverse? Did you know that there are bigger balls of light than our sun in other galaxies? They're probably loving the multiverse, where the sun is loving the universe. Maybe they're both doing it. Maybe there's all this love all over the multiverse that we're poo-pooing as dark energy. Excuse me. Is the multiverse growing? Yes. Dr. Mangier Samantha Lofton also talks about how light is curled up in higher dimensions according to genuine physics theories. Light is curled up in higher dimensions. If love is light and love is consciousness, then perhaps love is curled up in higher dimensions too. Excuse me. Dr. Samantha Lofton also spoke of consciousness having different dimensions. Is love multidimensional? Another love show for sure. I would guess yes, though, from what we've learned here today. So what is that? What have we learned? Well, we've learned that love is light, love is consciousness, love is God, and ultimately that love is dark energy. We have learned that dark energy is not really dark at all. Dr. Mangier Samantha Lofton says everything that is dark is actually light. So if we call it light energy, haven't we changed our perception, our consciousness, our love of this, love of love? So is love dark energy? Sort of. Dark energy is not actually dark. It is, in fact, light. So love is light energy. That would actually be the takeaway we can say we learned here. Love is not dark energy at all, but love is light energy. And most of everything, 73% of everything anyway. Love! I love you. I hope your brains did not explode. Love is light energy, folks. Love is everything. 73% of it. Love! Thanks for watching. Mililli Studios production.